What is up, boys, girls, and everyone else? James Baek here, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today we are going to be giving out some Series 8 VGC resources. So for those of you who have trouble with Series 8, maybe you don't know where to team build to start, maybe you just have been having problems getting Pokemon in game, fear not, as today I'm going to be sharing 10 rental teams for you to try out, all with different legendary Pokemon that you can try out in Series 8 on Battle Stadium today. So yes, each team will feature a different legendary, and it is probably a great place to start. So if you don't know what kind of Pokemon you really like, maybe try out some of these legendaries. And if you don't see the legendary you really want to see on the list, let me know in the comments down below, as you might be able to see a rental team soon on the VGC series that I do here, Back Battles. If you don't know, I do a lot of battling, and usually I give out my teams for players to try out. So if you do want to see a specific legendary, make sure to leave a comment down below. And also, while you're down there, also let me know what is your favorite team. For those of you that try out the teams, let me know which one you like the most. Which teams are you excited to try? Let me know all down below in the comment section. And while you're down there, if you did find this video helpful, be sure to leave a like down below, as it really does help out with the YouTube algorithm and can push out this video so maybe more players who are struggling to find teams can find this video. Now, as a disclaimer, this video, I have to say it does have 9 out of 10 teams do have Incineroar. So for anyone who's going to roll their eyes when they're going to see an Incineroar, I'm just going to say, yes, the teams have Incineroar, and no, I'm not changing it just so you can have a no Incineroar team, although there is one if you wouldn't want to try out. But yeah, you can whine in the comments down below. But otherwise, let's get started and review some of the teams that I have built for you down below. As well, there will be pastebins of every single team available in the description. So let's get started and go over the teams. So the first team that we have available is a pretty standard Regigigas Weezing team. Now, Regigigas is a Pokemon that is very comparable to these restricted Pokemon if it wasn't for its ability and Weezing being able to shut down the abilities on the field, preventing Pokemon from slowing down Regigigas with Intimidate, and being able to shut down a legendary Pokemon's abilities such as Xerneas, Yveltal, Groudon, Kyogre, which they really appreciate, while being able to pair up with Zacian, which with Intrepid Sword, you could actually reactivate Neutralizing Gas like you would Intimidate. If you switch Weezing in and then switch Weezing out, the abilities will actually reset. So it's actually possible for Zacian to be able to get more boosted attacks off its ability. It's a really fun team. It's very simple. It's pretty standard. You might have seen this team very similarly with like Wolf Glick and Aaron Trailer being able to use it in their GS Cup tournament. Although there is no Yveltal because there is no dual restricted, we do have a Moltres to replace it. As a pretty fun team overall. If you do want to give it a try, I highly recommend so. So the next team is one really close to my heart, as I have used this a lot in 2019. This is a version of Torn Ogre, which I use a lot in 2019. Tornadus being able to set up Tailwind and very well supporting the Kyogre, be able to use powerful water type moves under the rain thanks to its Drizzle ability, and Mystic Water just being able to make Water Spout such a beast. It just does so much damage. Spread moves, it's really hard to switch into Kyogre Water Spout. Even a resist will take a ton of damage. For instance, something like an Amoonguss might even just take 50% and be risk of getting 2-hit knocked out by Kyogre. It is pretty insane how much Mystic Water Kyogre can do, especially under Tailwind with a full power Water Spout. Paired up with Kartana to help out Kyogre alongside Incineroar, which also gives good support to Kyogre and can help pivot. And Clefairy and Landorus are really good partners to it with Follow Me support, Intimidate, as well as Landorus being able to help out against electric types such as Regieleki, which could give the duo of Tornadus and Kyogre some trouble. This team is really effective for sweeping, especially under the right conditions. Getting up Tailwind is phenomenal with this team, and really just allows it to set up with Kyogre, really utilizes Kyogre as a sweeping potential tool. The third team is a Yveltal team featuring Weakness Policy Yveltal that can be able to abuse the Weakness Policy boost and get up Airstreams, and then after taking a bunch of damage can actually heal up with a +2 Oblivion Wing, and it is a really massive threat. Ways to help proc the Weakness Policy are with Regieleki that can also help out with screens to support the Yveltal in allowing it to take hits and make sure it survives on the field through its max turn, so it can then heal off with the Oblivion Wing. Mamoswine is a great partner as well, being able to Ice Shard set up the weakness policy and can do a lot of damage with Yveltal and really does appreciate the Airstream boost, as well as can hit very common switch-ins such as Landorus and Incineroar. As well as the rest of the team to help support the Yveltal, Tapu Fini that can take abuse of the Airstreams, Incineroar, which always is a nice support, Intimidate's always great with Yveltal, and Metagross to help out Yveltal, especially against Xerneas combined with Intimidate users. This team focuses on supporting Yveltal and really just allowing Yveltal to sweep with the right partners, and it does fantastic for setting up weakness policy and anyone who really likes bulky offense. And yeah, it does really well at the job that it does provide. The fourth team that we have is a Calyrex Shadow Rider team. Now this team does focus on the Ghost Rider Calyrex being able to do a lot of damage with Substitute, allowing it to avoid potential sucker punches as well as dark moves and be able to do a ton of damage. Togekiss is also really helpful with the Follow Me to redirect super effective dark type and ghost type moves from the Calyrex, and to basically support with like very big offense such as Regi, Landorus, and Urshifu, as well as Incineroar to switch into dark Pokemon. This team is actually based off a team that did really well in the International Challenge back in Series 7, Calyrex being able to replace Spectrier, and actually does a really good job at replacing the Spectrier and adding more value to the team overall, especially Expanding Force is very nice welcome to hit Pokemon such as Porygon 2 a lot better. The team basically just revolves around doing a lot of damage, being able to get good speed control of Regi, or Airstream from Landorus, and trying to sweep with Calyrex and set up for Pokemon in the back. And Togekiss is a really nice support Pokemon because it is going to be able to also threaten Pokemon that Calyrex might not like, such as Yveltal. And the team really just plays straightforward and really can abuse Calyrex, and Calyrex can just sweep if it potentially just gets one boost from its ability. The fifth team is another Calyrex team, but this time we will feature the Ice Rider Calyrex this time alongside some very common Pokemon. Now, a team that was very common was actually running Glastrier Air with a Trick Room user, and then running the four of Moltres, an electric type such as Regi, or Raichu, Cortana, and Tapu Fini. I basically took that Series 7 team and then readjusted it, and it actually allows for Incineroar, which helps out to support with Intimidate, which is something the team generally missed having, as well as provides a fire type, which is always welcomed on a lot of teams, which helps against the steel type Pokemon. This team has two different modes. The first one is a Moltres sweep, being able to set up Moltres with screens next to Regi, and being able to proc weakness policy or set up free Nasty Plot, and then going for heavy damage right away with like Cortana or Tapu Fini, or a potential Trick Room mode with the Calyrex, trying to set up for a Trick Room and trying to sweep with Calyrex being able to go for a very powerful spread Glacial Lance that does an amazing amount of Trick Room. And Calyrex is a really hard Pokemon to beat, especially paired with screens and Intimidate. It is really hard to stop, especially even you cannot burn it because of Tapu Fini's Misty Terrain, and Tapu Fini can also get some free Calm Minds out of this. So yes, it is a team that has two different modes, a very good fast offensive mode and a very solid Trick Room mode. And this might be a team, if you like multiple modes, you might like as well. So the next team focuses on Xerneas, and if you like teams that set up one Pokemon in order to sweep, this team might be the one for you. This one has Xerneas, which is very infamous for its Geomancy, with Power Herb being able to charge up +2 special attack, +2 special defense, and +2 speed on one turn, and really able to hit hard with its fairy type moves, especially powered by Fairy Aura, and also a Geomancy boost make this really hard. Xerneas also has a really great natural bulk and just really fantastic stats overall. It is a very hard Pokemon to stop, especially after that Geomancy gets set up. And paired with it, multiple support Pokemon that can help out. Incineroar, for instance, as well as Landorus for Intimidate support, and really does well against Pokemon that Xerneas might not be able to handle, such as Steel-type Pokemon, as well as Ho-Oh. Amoonguss for redirection support, as Xerneas might not want to be able to take a taunt, and does appreciate the Spore, allowing it to buy turns for Xerneas to set up that Geomancy. And then Pokemon that can help out Xerneas when it can't be able to sweep, such as Rotom Wash and Metagross, which do really well in general in the format, especially if they are able to get their boosts. This team really can focus on Xerneas being able to set up, but also has like a really good offensive mode in general, especially with Metagross, Landorus, and Rotom Wash being able to do a good amount of damage, especially since all of them are fantastic Dynamax Pokemon, especially if you don't want to Dynamax the Xerneas if you don't need to. The seventh team is a Sun team with Groudon abusing the Drought ability that Groudon does have. And yeah, being able to use strong weather abusers such as Venusaur and Charizard with their max moves being really strong in this format, and heavy hitting moves are always welcomed in a high pace, high damaging output format. As Charizard with Blast Burn under the sun with its G-Max move is able to do a crazy amount of damage, and it's help supported. Of course, Groudon does appreciate not having to run a fire move since it doesn't have Fire Stab, being able to allow it to run Rock Slide for instance to counter Ho-Ohs for instance that could give team the trouble. Be able to set up Airstreams as well to support Groudon. Charizard is fantastic, or you could just go simple Venusaur against those water types like Kyogre, which Groudon does not appreciate dealing with. Stack Attacker for a Trick Room mode that allows Groudon to work both in an Airstream setting or in a Trick Room setting. Regi can also help out support the Charizard with the Electro Web, and Tapu Fini as well, giving support as well as good typing synergy, as well as a way to deal with Landispherian, which the team doesn't exactly appreciate. The team overall focuses on trying to set up with massive damage output, especially chipping away with the Vine Lash or the Wildfire setting, as well as multiple speed control methods to help deal with Groudon or Charizard that might want to be the sweeper with this team. Team number 8 is a Ho-Oh variant that I decided to come up with. So I thought Ho-Oh, being a really bulky Pokemon, is very hard to KO if you don't have a rock type Pokemon. And you know, it could be even bulkier next to Lapras, which has picked up a bit of popularity in Series 8 because of Aurora. And yes, Lapras does pair fantastically with Ho-Oh. Although they do share the rock weakness, it is very good for Lapras just to be able to get resonance up, as well as a really bulky Pokemon, as well as water absorb to switch into Kyogre for instance, which does really well. Paired up with Sand Tyranitar, I thought was a fantastic choice as a dark type, as it gives weather control as well. And Dracozolt, which can really help out Lapras and Ho-Oh because of the fact that it can outspeed, do a lot of damage with Bolt Beak to Pokemon that do threaten Lapras and Ho-Oh, especially those water type Pokemon. And then as support, Landorus as well for Intimidate, which is really nice as a switch into rock Pokemon, and Amoonguss, which can help out in abusing a regenerator combo, as these Pokemon can keep switching out and gaining HP, and can help support these Pokemon for Spore as well, which is really nice and prevents stat boosts that could really threaten Ho-Oh or Lapras damage output. Now this team really does focus around, you know, being able to sweep setup for Perish Song endgame potentially, or it can just go straight up and outbulk the opponent's team while still being able to do heavy damage, especially with like Dracozolt and Tyranitar for instance. It has different ways you can play this team. It can play defensive, or you can even go a bit of an offensive mode here. It has both options and is fantastic, especially for players who like to switch around with their team. And Lapras with Light Clay just allows for 8 turns of Aurora, which can really help out the other Pokemon, as these Pokemon are all generally bulky. The 9th team I'm going to feature is a Solgaleo team. It is a very big resonance to Metagross teams that did take place back in Series 7. And Solgaleo does do a ton of work as well, partnered with Bulldoze Spectrier, which does a lot, especially with Will-O-Wisp support and Snarl, which is always appreciated to help set up the Solgaleo for specific win conditions and activating that weakness policy, as well as the Full Metal Body preventing the Solgaleo from actually taking the speed drop, which is really nice as control of the speed. We have Rillaboom that can help out against bulky waters. We have Incineroar with always a switch into Dark type, which is really nice. You have Rotom Wash, which does generally well, especially against bulky water Pokemon, as a switch into Kyogre for instance, which is really nice. And then you got Moltres with Nasty Plot, because this team doesn't exactly like ghost Pokemon, especially like Ghost Rider or Shadow Rider Calyrex. Overall, the team pretty much plays straightforward. You could go for a Moltres sweep, you could go for a Rotom Wash sweep. You could also set up just weakness policy with Spectrier right away. It plays very straightforward with many ways to set up Pokemon to have as a win condition. So the final team that we have here is a Dialga team, and this team really focuses around Trick Room. So we have a Dialga team here that allows us to get us Trick Room with Incineroar being able to help support it, being able to fake out, provide Snarl support against heavy special attackers that might put pressure on Dialga. And then after Trick Room does go up, does have a way to activate Dialga's weakness policy with Brick Break, which is really nice, not only to help Dialga set up weakness policy, but also to deal with Pokemon that could give some trouble, especially screens that can help, for instance, against Lapras teams, which Dialga does not like playing around screens. So Brick Break is very useful there. Help out support, there's also other Dynamax Pokemon you can use other than Dialga. For instance, Primarina does a ton of damage, especially with the Trick Room up, and just threatens a lot of Pokemon such as the Yveltal, which could give Dialga some trouble, and gives Helping Hand support. So no matter who you decide to, if you decide to Dynamax Primarina, you'll do a ton of damage, especially with a Max Geyser. or you could help out the other Trickermons in the Dialga or the Glastrier, which is a really great Pokemon that can help deal a ton of damage, especially under Trick Room with that expert belt. And then you got switch-ins such as Landis for more Intimidate coverage, as well as a ground type switch-in, which is really nice for Dialga, and then Zapdos, which is a really nice Pokemon to have here, especially to deal with bulky waters that the team doesn't exactly enjoy dealing with. And yeah, overall this team focuses on having 2 different modes. You do have the main Trick Room mode, and you have like 2 or 3 Pokemon that can actually really well abuse the Trick Room, especially like with a Dynamax, and you don't even have to Dynamax every Pokemon on the Trick Room mode. And then you got like this really good Zapdos Landers combination, which is a very decently fast combination that can help out against a lot of mid-tier speed teams. So yeah, overall the goal is to get Trick Room, but you do not have to get Trick Room up in every game. You could get Weakness Policy up with Dialga, but not necessarily so. The point of the team is to find a condition where you can sweep and then rely on supporting that Pokemon with the other Pokemon, because this team, the sweepers can also help out the main sweeper that you want to go for in each game, which is something that's really strong about this team. And that is going to be all 10 rental teams that I have provided for all of you to try out. In the description down below, there is a paste bin of all the teams if you do want to see all the EV spreads down below, so you know what you're working with, or want to try it on Pokemon Showdown. They will be listed down below in the description. And if this video did help you, again, be sure to leave a like down below, as it really does help out with the YouTube algorithm. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. Even if you think you're subscribed, just double check, because sometimes YouTube unsubscribes you. And you get a lot of great content here. There's going to be a lot more teams, and if you didn't see a restricted Pokemon that you wanted to see a rental team of, let me know in the comments down below, and I will be trying to use a lot of the restricteds in the upcoming months, so you might be able to see a rental team of your favorite restricted in the future on my channel. So make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. But that is going to be basically it. If you want more VGC content, make sure again to subscribe and check out my other social media, such as my Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, where I do live stream and I use a lot more teams as well. Make sure you follow me on those platforms. But otherwise, yes, thank you for all tuning in. Have a great day, people, and until we battle again, I'll see y'all later.